Hello. Is this thing on? Can you guys hear me? I'm never sure. Okay. It looks like you guys can. Oh, yeah, let me give you the... That's a good idea. Give you guys the actual link to the Discord. So just to kind of give you guys an idea of what we're doing today, well, I put this link in chat. So I'll pin it. Let me pin it in a second. Quick. So just kind of to kind of give you guys an idea of what's going on today. We've had some banger shows lately. Today we're probably going to take it a little easy. Okay? Not going to lie to you. It's it might be a shorter stream, but I have some things to talk about and things I want to go over. As well, I wanted to give you guys a chance to call in and talk to me because we've covered a lot of topics recently, and I wanted to give my community the ability to weigh in, whether they like my takes, dislike my takes, if they disagree, if there's something that we should be talking about that we're not talking about, if there's something that we are talking about that we shouldn't be talking about anymore, any of that. If you want to come in and talk to me and challenge me on something, I'm going to give you the opportunity to do so. How do you do so? Well, you're going to click that link. You're going to accept the rules by clicking on my face emoji on the rules page. You'll see it's my face. You click it and you accept the rules that way. Then you'll be able to see all the channels. You jump backstage. Once you're backstage, when I'm ready, I'll pull you in and we'll yap about whatever it is that you want to yap about, okay? Man, oh man, gang. Yesterday was such a good show. I liked it a lot. Did you guys enjoy it? It was a little unexpected. It started out originally when I set it up was going to be me, Kraut, and Dev talking. But other people wanted on, and other people saw it and were like, I want on, and so it expanded, and it was interesting, and we had fun, didn't we, gang? I hope so. $2 from Zephyr Hash to say, yes, all dues, even the Mountain Dews. Oh, did I typo? No, I didn't typo. You got me, okay? You got me. I'm like, man, did I say the title was yes, all dues? That would have been funny. Okay, Zephyr, you and your prankster stuff. It's not April 1st yet. Tomorrow's April Fool's. Okay, tomorrow. Okay. Let's get to the first thing I want to talk about because it's on my mind. We're going to talk about anti-Semitism. I know. Been a bit. But it's back in the mix now. And it's rearing its ugly head. And I wanted to have a discussion about it as well as go over something that I saw that kind of triggered this discourse, at least a little, based on not just the article itself, but the responses to it. But first, confirmatarian. Yo, nice to see you too, sir. Lunchtime, ayo. Well, ayo to you as well. The audio is good. Thank you. Glad you liked it. Criven Kev says yesterday was a very good panel. I agree. Testicle Johnson, Wick, you once said those mud people get what they deserve. Could you elaborate? Testicle Johnson, I don't like mud. Okay. But no, I never said that. Dash, Wick TV, do you interact with Gary Cardone, Dana, or any of the people Destiny was just on a separate live? No, I have no idea who they are. Sorry. Why? What happened? Vitae Mecca, nice to see you as well on Twitch side. Yay, Twitch. What up, Wick? Hey, Corvus. Master Wick, how you doing, bud? Short Sack Goblin, nice to see you as well. We're doing okay. We're doing okay. We're going to read this article a little bit. We're going to talk about a few things tonight. Oh, did you guys see the SCOTUS ruling? The Supreme Court had a ruling today on conversion therapy. Well, at least on a conversion therapy law, and I believe it was Colorado. They struck down the law, or rather, they sent it back to the lower courts, okay, to be redecided, and the lower courts have to apply strict scrutiny when they make their decision. And gang, the law ain't going to survive that. The law will be struck down under strict scrutiny. So, Testicle John says, oh, I only got the YouTube notification. Twitch is better on mobile because I can PMP. Hell yeah. Well, I'm glad you're here. Either Twitch or YouTube today is fine. Super Duper Scooper says, Wick TV, you are neither a candle wick nor on TV. Curious. Well, sometimes I'm on people's TVs. I've seen people have sent me screenshots of my panels on their TVs. So, just saying. Am I a candle? I mean, I shine brightly. I light your way. How am I not? Razzle Smasher says, those Cardone morons muted Destiny and wouldn't let him respond, so he left. I'll have to look at it. I did stop in because I heard he was debating James Fishback. So I stopped in when it was scheduled to start. I saw that James Fishback had dropped out last minute, and I went back to doing other things. Frankly. Sorry. Fresh Paycheck says most GigaChat moderator on the scene. Was it that bad over there that you guys are praising me? You guys, normally a lot of you guys, well, I won't say a lot of you guys. Because look, we have a tendency as creators to focus on the negative. So for every 10 compliments I get, I'll get like one insult, and I'll focus on that insult because I'll be like, how dare they say that? Oh, kind of deal, right? But intellectually, I know that, most of my comments are positive. Most of my feedback's positive. There's a few naysayers and a few people who don't like it. Fair enough, but it is what it is. But as kind of like in a joking manner, I'm saying that, if you guys are praising me, it must have been really bad over there, huh? Fair enough. It really was that bad? What happened? Okay. Either way. Testicle Johnson says, wait, do you support conversion therapy? No. However, you can't write. Okay. I guess we're talking about the Supreme Court law first. So, I do not support conversion therapy. However, when you write a law to ban conversion therapy, you have to do so in a viewpoint neutral manner, okay? You have to make it so you are not discriminating based on viewpoint. And you can regulate these things. You can make laws. They have laws that are perfectly constitutional, perfectly legal. Colorado's wasn't. Colorado's was viewpoint discriminatory. So they kicked it back, and this was an 8-1 decision, man. Most of the liberal judges agreed, right? They kicked it back to the lower courts to apply strict scrutiny, and it won't survive it. But yeah, you have to do things the right way. We can't just because we don't like a thing, just ban it or regulate it away unconstitutionally. We have to abide by, especially the First Amendment. Because think about it. Do you want Stephen Miller to be able to decide what sorts of therapies are legal and illegal? You probably don't. So you have to stick to the Constitution And that means that we can't do it either. Okay. Thoughts on Fishback being a pussy? Did he run, or did he, like, I'd have to know more. No name. Did he just not show because, like, how much notice did he actually give the hosts? I just don't know, man. Testicle Johnson, if you disagree with me, it's a call-in show. Come on in. Like, if anyone disagrees with my take here, look, I am against conversion therapy, but here's a good. We'll just read like the last paragraph, okay, real quick, of the decision. Here, let me get it so you can actually read it, gang. Bloop bloop bloop. Bloop bloop bloop. Okay, that should do. Well, thank you, Frozen Knight. So this is from the last decision on the concurrence, right? So the people who agree. We had one dissenting, right? I believe it was Jackson who dissented. I'd have to look for sure. Let's read this because it's just correct. We do not doubt that the question, how best to help minors struggling with issues of gender identity or sexual orientation, is presently a subject of fierce public debate. Citation. But Colorado's law addressing conversion therapy does not just ban physical interventions. In cases like this, it censors speech based on viewpoint. Colorado may regard its policy as essential to public health and safety. Certainly, censorious governments throughout history have believed the same. But the First Amendment stands as a shield against any effort to enforce orthodoxy in thought or speech in this country. It reflects, instead, a judgment that every American possesses an inalienable right to think and speak freely, and a faith in the free marketplace of ideas as the best means for discovering truth. However well-intentioned, any law that suppresses speech based on viewpoint represents an egregious assault on both of those commitments. That's just true, though, right? That's just correct. The decision was correct. Now, again, that does not mean you can't regulate these things, right? Especially therapy and types of therapy and require licenses and all these things, right? And what qualifies as licensed therapy and what doesn't. What it means is when you write the law, you can't do it to only exclude certain viewpoints. It's not pivoting, it's at the core. Testicle Johnson, jump on, man. Jump on if you want to fight me on this. It's at the core of the decision. It's not a pivot. It's not a distraction. It's not an obfuscation. And again, you can rewrite the law, but you have to do it so it doesn't just affect one group. Okay. Sorry, I rant a little bit on this. General Grievous says, Wick TV, they baited Destiny. I don't think Fishback was ever coming. They kept muting him and told him he couldn't respond. He had to sit and listen. Oh. So did they lie about having Fishback coming on? Ooh, that's crazy. That's crazy. But here, look, at the end of the day, for this, if someone is religious and they believe homosexuality is a sin, and they're like, man, I want to find someone who can help talk me out of being homosexual. It sounds weird, right? And it's kind of silly. But why should the government get involved in that, right? If someone wants someone to pay someone to provide therapy to stop them from being gay, right? And it's not torture. They're not signing up to get like sleep deprived or some shit, right? And it's simply talk therapy, right? Why can't an organization offer that service if the customer wants it? What's wrong with that? It's stupid, but people want a lot of stupid things. And the government shouldn't be involved in trying to regulate that, or at least getting in the way of that decision. Fable the Cable says, because you can't stop someone from being gay? Cool, that's true, but you know what else you can't do? At least under the First Amendment, write a law that discriminates against a certain viewpoint, which Colorado did. How can kids consent to it? I mean, do we allow any therapy for kids? I'm sure we do. I remember going to court-ordered therapy when I was 14 years old because I don't know if I told you guys this story, but I got in a fight with my dad, a physical fight. I didn't win. I was 14. Uh, and they sent me to juvie for like a day. And part of the court-ordered punishment, such as it were, is I had to write I think it was a 500-word essay. I had to do 20 hours of community service, and I had to go to 10 therapy sessions. I'm a hardened criminal. It's true. I spent a day in juvie, gang. Okay, it was crazy. Did my time, hard time. Ray Rod said I went to anger management classes. Yeah, true. Jacob Blanc says it's basically torture. They make you relive traumatic shit, roleplay violent scenarios, etc. Look, again, if you want to regulate this stuff, you can. But the Colorado law was bad law. It ran afoul of the First Amendment. And again, it is important to protect the First Amendment when it comes to these things because we do not want the government to be able to tell us what sorts of therapy are allowed, or like what sorts of viewpoints in therapy are allowed, and what sorts of viewpoints in therapy are disallowed. Because again, do you want the Trump administration to start regulating what viewpoints a therapist can hold and talk about and what subjects they cannot? I don't think you do. One of the compromises we make is we allow people who have bad ideas, right, and who have bad viewpoints to be able to say their viewpoints because we know while that might be harmful, it is more harmful to give the government the power to say this viewpoint's allowed, this viewpoint's not allowed. So, $5 from Zephyrhash to say, according to the Trevor Project, LGBT kids exposed to conversion therapy are 2.5 times more likely to commit Minecraft. Does that change the analysis? Once again, I'm not saying that conversion therapy of any sort is good, right? I am just saying that if you want to regulate it, you have to do so better than the Colorado law did. That's it. What's going to be your next panel? Tomorrow we have a debate between Soy Pill and a guy named, let me get his name, Zeb Boykin. They're going to be talking about citizenship, birthright citizenship. So it should be fun. Oh, man. Short Stack Goblin says, I feel Wick is being dumb on at this per usual, but I need to read the law. Yeah, you should probably read the law and read the decision too, right? Before you freak out. Read it, gang. It's a well-reasoned, well-argued decision. Their argument is correct. The law was bad. I don't know what else to tell you. Okay. Wonderful. Let's talk about anti-Semitism. It came up yesterday, and I wanted to discuss it a little bit with you guys. And I wanted to well, you'll see. I want to go over the article that I talked about yesterday. Let me get it so you guys can see it. Let me organize it a little bit better. So the L'chaim Intifada, okay. This is from Amanda Gellender. This is pretty banging for Substack, okay? It's an article on Substack. Almost 1,500 likes, 609 I don't know what they call it there. Retweets, basically. a bunch of comments that we're going to get to. It popped off. I saw people on my timeline yesterday, the day before, I should say, defending it, right? And talking how it wasn't anti-Semitic, it was anti-Zionist. And I just wanted to kind of go over it and expose kind of just the filth. I don't know a better word to say it. It's filth, gang. It's filth. It's a filthy, filthy fucking article. It's crazy. It's written by someone who has a lot of hate in their heart, and it's definitionally anti-Semitic. Definitionally anti-Semitic. And we're going to talk about why. And then I want to talk about why some people feel the need to defend this. So a lot of people in my discords that I inhabit, because I was talking about what I was going to do today a little bit, and it immediately started this argument in a discord that I'm with, in Dev's discord, to be clear, that I was talking in. It immediately started an argument. And that argument is like, who is more anti-Semitic, the left or the right? And I had kind of a realization while I was watching them argue this this question. This question in and itself helps anti-Semites. And I'll tell you why. Anti-Semitism is a problem. It's not a left problem. It's not a right problem. It's a problem. When you are asking the question, who does it more, a lot of anti-Semites will use it as a shield, and I'll explain why, right? Like they'll say, well, yes, this is bad, but look at the right wing and what they're doing. Look at Nick Fuentes. Look at all these other people. They're much more anti-Semitic. They have many more anti-Semites on their side. As if that should matter to the question at hand. I'll just make this clear. It doesn't matter to me, at the end of the day, who is more anti-Semitic, the left or the right. Anti-Semitism needs to be burned out. It needs to be uprooted wherever it is found. And if you're asking or trying to excuse it by, but the other side does it more, you were playing a kind of soft defense for anti-Semites, right? You're allowing them to hide. And I said this yesterday, and I stand by it, that some forms of anti-Semitism are worse than others. And I will agree there. The in-your-face, I hate all Jews, I'm not going to say the slurs, right? That's gross anti-Semitism. It's a problem. It's bad. But I find the mask-on anti-Semitism worse, and I'll explain why. The analogy I used yesterday was apt. It's like a disease. Okay, gang? We're going to get to the article in a minute, I promise. I promise. I just want to see what you guys are saying. It's a disease. If a disease has obvious symptoms, you can diagnose it quickly. You can say, oh, that guy, his face is melting. Okay, he's got boils everywhere. It's oozing pus. His fingers are falling off, right? Obvious symptoms, you can diagnose it immediately. You know what to do. Quarantine them, isolate them. All these things you can do. Okay? This disease is still deadly. It's still virulent. It's still bad. But you can kind of control it better. One of the problems that we have, though, with disease is sometimes people are asymptomatic. They have the disease, but they don't have the symptoms of it. Or at least the symptoms are more muted. They're harder to see. And these people are allowed to roam about, go about their day, infecting everyone around them. Until, well, everyone gets sick. That is the style of anti-Semitism I see a lot of amongst Hassanites, right? And people like that. It's this asymptomatic, it's not anti-Semitism, it's anti-Zionism type stuff, right? It's not as in your face, usually. Sometimes it is, right? But it's not as in your face, usually, as the Fuentes types. But it is still deadly. And a lot of people run cover for it that wouldn't otherwise, because they get tricked into thinking, well, this isn't that bad, right? It's not a big deal. The other side does it more. All these things are not questions that should be really wrestled with because they're beside the point. The point is, that's anti-Semitism. We don't want to truck with it. Get it the fuck out. That's it. But I do want to read the article for you guys, just to show what I'm thinking and what I'm having to deal with. Actually, one more thing before I hit this, I want to show you what what someone said about it when I posted. Hold on, give it one moment. If I was a wise man, I would have had this ready, but I didn't. So now I have to scroll and find it. Here it is. Okay. Here's me. I'm posting about it, right? Quoting, saying, kind of silly, something, anti-Zionism, not anti-Semitism, something, anti-Israel, not anti-Jew. And here's this person is saying, I just published my latest piece, yes, all Jews. And then I get attacked by this guy, okay? And he says this, and I know this guy. He's been on my show a few times. I'm not sure if he's still in my Discord, but he's debated on my channel. He says, this was written by a Jewish anti-Zionist talking about how it's the responsibility of Jewish anti-Zionists to spearhead the separation of Judaism and Zionism. Did you even read the article? LOL. So we're going to read the article, and you can tell me, dear viewer, whether it's anti-Semitic or just anti-Zionism. Let's get to it. Yes, all Jews. I have come to the tremendous disdain for my people, the evil we have wrought, and the demons we have become. Start not strong there with the, it's not anti-Semitism, it's anti-Zionism. They're just talking about Jews being demons. Cool. Our craven hypocrisy, our Holocaust hand-wringing, our selfish disassociation, our bottomless both-sidesing, our catonic inaction, our feeble sign-waving, our condescending condemnations, our wallowing victim complex, our self-indulgent betrayals, our brazen self-centeredness, our exploitive careerism, our blood and soil racism, our liberal cowardice, our mountains of empty platitudes amongst mountains of Palestinian corpses that we annihilated in cold blood. Israel has likely killed hundreds of thousands of people in 2.5 years of nonstop bombardment, executions, and engineered starvation in Gaza. The depths of our sadism seemingly knows no bounds. Again, they're not talking about the Israeli government. Remember the title of the article. I'll just scroll up to remind you guys. Yes, all Jews. One of the last times that Judaism's, again, not Zionism, not Israelis, Judaism's breath and beating heart that prophet Moses delivered existed and showed itself died in Auschwitz when Jewish Zionists were already busy building what would become the Jewish death colony, Israel. This is, I guess, a quote later in the thing. We'll read that later. This is not a navel-gazing fight for the soul of Judaism. Palestine is not our Jewish moral reckoning. There isn't a morsel of Jewish morality in sight. Palestine is an anti-colonial and decolonial liberation struggle in which we Jews are the fascistic overlords, the vicious propagandists and funders, the militarized soldier settlers demolishing and stealing homes, igniting West Bank pogroms, and executing children en masse. Jewish Zionists will say this evokes anti-Semitic tropes. We don't care. Your words fall entirely flat as Jews in Israel celebrate Purim by cheering on bombings like the murder of 165 schoolgirls and staff killed by U.S.-Israeli airstrikes on Iran. The truth of Jewish terrorism is already seared into Palestinian land, jaggedly branded and carved into Palestinian skin with swastikas of David. Jews now dwell in and animate the age of totalitarian Judaism. I don't want to hear about anti-Semitism or Jewish victimhood ever again. So obviously this person's having a moment, okay? And look, I think it's perfectly fair to criticize Israel. All these things you can condemn, you can argue against, you can ask for defunding for Israel, call it monstrous genocide, all these things. They're fine. You can make arguments for that. But again, one of the tricks that anti-Semitism plays in these, right, these people play is that it usually tries to mask itself like we're not criticizing the Jews, we're criticizing the Israeli government. But again, I'll remind you of the title of the paper. Yes, all Jews. Zionists insist that hating Israel is tantamount to hating Jews, and then in the same breath demand that people do not conflate Israel with Jews. When I remark to Jews that we are all responsible for ending Zionism and the ongoing Palestinian genocide, I usually hear, not all Jews, say Zionists, not Jews. There are actually more Christian Zionists than Jewish ones. Well, I am speaking to Jews right now, of people who support fascist Zionism in lockstep across every institution in our community. Okay, once again, the reason they're telling you not all Jews is because not all Jews support this. This is not an all Jews problem. That's the reason they're saying that. Because if you want to criticize Zionism, you can criticize Zionism. And there are Zionists who are of all makes and models, right? All religions, all faiths, all ethnicities, right? Zionists, whatever that means to you, right? They exist. They're there. If you want to criticize them, by all means. And this trick as well, this lie that they tell. Zionists insist that hating Israel is tantamount to hating Jews. There's a couple who do. But most people, Zionist or anti-Zionist or non-Zionist, recognize that no, you can criticize Israel. You can even hate Israel. You're not hating all Jews. You're not hating Jews, right? You can hate their government. There's a lot of Zionists who hate Netanyahu, who hate the Israeli government, right? There are. They exist. But this is a problem with these people. They lie, right? They will say, well, this is the criticism when almost no one has that criticism. That is not the criticism that's being levied. No one is saying, no one serious, I should say, is saying that you can't ever criticize Israel, or that criticizing or hating Israel is tantamount to hating Jews. It's just not. But when you make an article saying, yes, all Jews, L'chaim Intifada, and talk about how Jews are demons, and you hate all your people, and they're all saying this, and they all believe this one thing, and everyone in a single group is responsible for one portion of that group's actions, then yeah, I think you're kind of being anti-Semitic. Enough with the incessant deflection of responsibility. Jews consider themselves a proud collective people, an unbroken lineage from generation to generation, up until the cracked mirror of modern Judaism reflects back nothing but terrorism, slaughter, blood, sadism, rape, and organ theft. Virtually every Jewish group supports the existence of Israel in some shape or form, and we dare to point the finger at others instead of cleaning up our own filthy house. Organized Jewish formations across our entire community keep the colony humming through diehard and consistent commitment, propaganda, money, and resources, considering strengthening and defending Israel, quote unquote, to not only be a mitzvah, but part of their duty towards the Jewish people and an extension of their Jewish identity. Mind you, Jewish people are currently operating a string of torture and rape dungeons in Palestine and pummeling Lebanon and Iran with airstrikes. Israeli torturers recently abducted and burned cigarettes into the thighs of a 1-year-old Palestinian child. This is the Jewish state. This is how far we've gone. Zionism is not fringe within Judaism. It is ubiquitous. It is incumbent upon Jewish people of conscience to make distinctions between Zionism and Judaism materially true by destroying Zionism in our own communities, not denying our widespread complicity in policing others, merely observing the fascistic reality of modern Judaism. At great cost to themselves and their peoples, Palestinians, Arabs, and Muslims have stated these truths plainly for generations. Writer Neda Chahed vividly describes the reality of Jewish settler colonialism every day. None of what I'm stating is new. It is only rare for a Jew to hear it from a Jew. Jewish people are condescendingly and racistly dismissive of Palestinians as narratives of their own decolonial struggle and insist instead upon perpetual Jewish innocence. As a people, we are woefully out of touch with both humanity and reality. And I just want to, gang, just a break from all this filth. It's filth. It's gross. Okay. We would never accept this kind of screed from about any other group. Any other group. Would you about Palestinians? What do you think of people who equate Hamas to all Palestinians? What if I had written an article entitled, Yes, All Palestinians, and then detailed the horrific rapes and murders perpetrated by Hamas and other terrorist organizations that have been Hezbollah, that have been kind of intertwined with the governments and peoples of that region. And I said, all Palestinians are to blame for this. All Arabs are to blame for this. All Islam is to blame for this. And I went on a screed like that. What word would you use to describe someone who did that? What word would you describe? What word would you use? They're Islamophobic. They're bigots. They're racists. And that would be true. If I were to sit here and say all Palestinians are responsible for what Hamas did, I would be a racist. That would be a racist thing to say. It would be untrue as well. Perhaps more importantly, right? It's just not correct. And to try to tie, right, this murderous group of incels, right, to the Palestinian population as a whole is a trick that racists do to try to get you to not care about what happens to Palestinians. We recognize this. And I think that most anti-Zionists would also recognize it. But for some reason, when it's about Jews, they don't. It's crazy. Kind of gives the game away a little bit. Well, let's keep going. Because it gets worse. The fact that virtually all Jews in Jewish spaces are Zionists and support the existence of Israel is an indictment of us as a morally bankrupt people. 0 Jews could support Palestine, and it would only further condemn us. Certainly not those under the boot of our fascist reign, constantly developing resurgent ways to persist and resist our sadistic butchering. Jewish thoughts and feelings about Palestine do not matter, or rather, they should not matter. Jewish feelings are currently given far too much weight. As the world grinds to a halt for white Jewish feelings in particular, Jewish university staff and students are currently receiving massive payouts for so-called anti-Semitism claims after the blessed Al-Aqsa flood operation. 20 million class settlements payout at Columbia. And gang, remember, the Al-Aqsa flood operation was when Hamas broke into Israel, killed about 1,000 civilians, raped some number of those. I don't know the exact number. Women, children, men, all of them. This is what this author calls it, the so-called anti-Semitism claims after the blessed Al-Aqsa flood operation. The blessed Al-Aqsa flood operation. That's how she puts it. Her words, not mine. Compare this to how the hammer comes down on Arabs and Muslims experiencing actual systemic targeting, attacks, and abuse. Palestine is a generational freedom struggle, not a weepy Jewish grief circle. This minimizing of Jewish death, of Jewish rape, of Jewish torture, right? Torture done to Jews, rape done to Jews, death done to Jews, murder done to Jews, right? Calling it a weepy Jewish grief circle is anti-Semitic to its core. It is what every anti-Semite throughout history has done. These people don't really fucking matter because they're not really fucking people. They recognize it when it's done in reverse, when people say Palestinian lives don't matter because they're not really fucking people, they're just all terrorists. That's a bigoted thing to say. It's a bigoted belief that some Zionists have. That is absolutely true, right? But to equate this to all Jews is anti-Semitic. Definitionally. And I'll remind you how this fuckstick who, has the brain of a snail or a slug, is defending this and putting this, saying this is written by a Jewish and anti-Zionist, talking about how it's the responsibility of Jewish anti-Zionists to spearhead the separation of Judaism and Zionism. Did you even read the article? LOL. Makes me angry. Okay. The defense of the indefensible. So, again, had this been written in reverse, where someone had written, an article titled, "Yes, All Palestinians," and then outlined all the horrific acts that Hamas and other groups had done to Israel, right? To Israelis, to Jews, and then described the Jewish response, the Israeli response, I should say, as a weepy Palestinian grief circle. This person would be shouting in the streets, "Look at those bigots. Look at those Islamophobes," right? And they would be carrying some fucking sign, right? Chanting some fucking chant, organizing some fucking campus protest, some shit. But with Jews, well, it's just anti-Zionism, kids. Just anti-Zionism. It's not the whole article. Of our own violation, Jewish people crown Zionism a central pillar of modern Judaism and fashioned Israel into our new god, a hyper-militarized golden calf for an increasingly faithless people seeking a seat in the world of the above. White supremacy, settlerhood, nation building, power within the Euro-American empire, and the Americans spelled with a K. Fun. We seamlessly integrated Israel and Zionism into every facet of Jewish life globally. Zionism has no borders. Israel has not become fascist via Netanyahu and the Likud party. Rather, Israel is innately fascistic because its settler colonial structure. Same applies to Trump and the American crusading settler colony Israel's blueprint, as Dr. Muhammad Abdu articulates in Islam and Anarchism. America and Israel are both irreformable and irredeemable, built out of the world established in 1492, entities erected by genocidal settlers atop mass indigenous graves. Almost half of the global Jewish population are Israeli settler squatters. They overwhelmingly support the ethnic cleansing of Gaza and the current U.S.-Israel war on Iran. So first of all, this number here, I'm hesitant to click the link. Hold on, give me a second. Just so I don't know where we're going to go. I don't know where they're getting this fucking number from. Oh, okay, I see. So this is from the Mondo Wise paper. It says, "Forever live by the sword, understanding Israelis' massive support for the Iran war." And a recent poll registered Israeli support for the war on Iran at a whopping 93%. How did they put it? Did they say Israeli? No. They said the global Jewish population. Cool. Most of the rest of us live as privileged white settlers in colonies like so-called America. Those of us living in settler colonies outside of Israel also neglect our responsibilities as settlers towards indigenous land back and black self-determination movements where we are. On Turtle Island, black and indigenous genocides have persisted for 533 years and counting. Okay. When I state that virtually all Jews in Jewish formations are Zionist, I am including most of the very small number of Jews in Jewish organizations who self-identify as anti-Zionist or pro-Palestine. Scratch the surface, and you'll quickly find that most are liberal Zionists, as Laura Kalani and the team at Good Shepherd Collective frequently note. All Jews who claim non-Zionism are Zionist in their politics because they always disparage the resistance and conflate colonizer with the colonized. Example, we condemn both violence by Hamas and violence by Israel, or a coexistence future on the land for both Palestinians and Israelis/Jews. So, gang, you can call yourself an anti-Zionist, but if you condemn the violence from Hamas, if you condemn when Hamas raped all those people and killed all those people, you're a Zionist. You're a Zionist, gang. You're a Zionist. Ha ha ha. Got you. You can't escape. You can condemn Israel all you want. But if you condemn murder and rape against Jews, you're not. You're a Zionist. Ha ha ha. We got you. You can never escape. It's fucking crazy. This is fucking insane. Why would you be against a coexistent future on the land for both Palestinians and Jews? Why would you be against that? Oh, because you want all the Jews to go away, right? Genuine Jewish and anti-Zionist unwavering support the total eradication of Israel and the greater Satan America. So if you don't support the total eradication of both Israel and America, you're not an anti-Zionist, gang. Full land back without a speck of Zionist or Euro-American imperial settler colonial control. This includes removing Jews from Palestine while ensuring they don't do harm where they go or further displace indigenous peoples elsewhere, and open, reverent support for Palestinian armed resistance. Gaza's Mujahideen are the heart of the struggle, currently spearheaded by Hamas's Al-Qassam brigades, who executed the miraculous Al-Aqsa flood on October 7th, 2023, an operation that genuine Jewish anti-Zionists unequivocally recognize as one of the most prolific anti-colonial operations in history. Gang, this is insanity. This is the call for an ethnic cleansing of Jews from Israel and the surrounding lands, and to make sure that wherever they go, that they're not going to get up to their Jewish ways. This is, if this isn't anti-Semitism, gang, if that isn't anti-Semitism, nothing is. And remember, these people, these leftists fucksticks, okay? Remember how this was characterized? Remember how this was characterized as this is, gang, it's just an anti-Zionist talking about the responsibility of the Jewish anti-Zionist to separate Judaism and Zionism. That's what it is, gang. Don't read the article, right? Did you even read? Oh, the end of it. Did you even read the article? LOL. Yes, I did. And when I saw the part that said, let's exterminate the Jews, I was like, this might be anti-Semitic. This might be anti-Semitic. I'm not sure. I'm not certain. But it could be. I'm willing to hear out arguments that it's anti-Semitic, at least at this point, right? This is a type of bullshit I'm talking about, where these things are dangerous. This line of it's not anti-Semitism, it's anti-Zionism is dangerous. It's insidious. It's a poison. And it's allowing this cancer of anti-Semitism to grow everywhere. And again, we're not talking about left, we're not talking about right. It's not a left problem. It's not a right problem. It's a problem. Okay? It's a problem. And it's everywhere. And it's growing. And until we stomp it out, until we take these people who run defense for this filth and we mock them and we expose them, right, as what they are, anti-Semites, it's just going to keep growing. We do not make peace with anti-Semitism, gang. We do not make peace with anti-Semites. Okay? We do not accept them into our movement. We do not let them into the tent. They have a disease, and they will spread it. You keep them out. Just people don't understand. And I'm trying to get them to understand. KTC says weak TV says free speech is dangerous now? Free speech has always been dangerous. I'm not calling for them to be arrested. I'm not calling for them to be canceled, deplatformed. They can speak all they want, but they don't get to dictate my party and what we do. Make your own goddamn party. You don't get to be a parasite, a leech. Get the fuck out. Go find your own place to spread your little anti-Semitic beliefs. Not in my house. Not in my house. And it galls me. It galls me to no end when people excuse this or try to run cover for this or run defense for this. And there's 1,000 different ways they do it. We talked about some of them. Well, it's worse on the right. Doesn't matter. Well, you know, they're just critical of Israel and Israel deserves to be criticized. That's not just critical of Israel, gang. I'm critical of Israel. Fuck Netanyahu. Fuck the Likud, right? Fuck their politics. Fuck their Operation Gaza. Fuck their operation. Fuck the settler colonial people in the West Bank. Fuck them all. They're horrific, monstrous, all that. You can have these criticisms, right? I'm not against that. Criticize all you like. But if you're writing about the miraculous Al-Aqsa flood on October 7th, an operation that genuine Jewish anti-Zionists unequivocally recognize as one of the most prolific anti-colonial operations in history, get the fuck out. That's it. It is exceedingly rare to find these political commitments amongst Jews, and still weak when found, as we have accomplished virtually nothing material or meaningful to stop our people from committing the most heinous and disgusting acts imaginable over the last century in occupied Palestine. Jewish people are currently raping Palestinians to death with hot metal rods in concentration camp prisons, and Jewish so-called allies living cozy lives in the imperial core still have the audacity to moan on about anti-Semitism and don't blame all Jews for the actions of Israel. The Zionist nightmare is our moral responsibility as Jews to reckon with and war against within our own ranks. Yes, all Jews. While self-identification with the term Zionist has fallen out of favor as of late, support for the existence of Israel among Jewish people is still rock solid. As people of the world increasingly turn against Israel, having seen Zionism for the evil it is, Jewish people have not budged on our fascistic commitments. Do you see heated confrontations over Jewish genocide breaking out at synagogues across the world? Do you see riots of internal strife inside Jewish communities and religious spaces that sell stolen Palestinian land and host IOF terrorists to speak and fundraise? No, of course not. Jews know it's expected to support Israel at all shuls. This is considered normal Jewish life, our birthright in a world that perpetually hates us for no other reason than that we're Jewish. Our delusions of Jewish innocence, our grandiose self-importance, our entitled death grip on the colony goes virtually uncontested within the Jewish community. So, first of all, this whole screed is probably the strongest argument a Zionist can make. it is the strongest argument that there needs to be a state of Israel that is armed and ready to go. Because if ever these people get power and influence, we will have another 1,000 miraculous Al-Aqsa floods. Okay? They will cheer it on happily. They will participate. They will go around raping and killing and exterminating Jewish men, Jewish women, and Jewish children just for being associated in any sorts of ways with Israel. And remember, the title of the whole fucking screed here is yes, all Jews. Jewish Zionists see Palestine in line with Jews because they're Jews. Jewish anti-Zionists see Palestine in line with the Palestinians because they are the sacred below being crushed by the above. What the fuck is that? Okay, are oppressor and oppressed? What? The salt of the earth fighting for dignity and liberation on their own land and on their own terms. The land indeed fights with them. We don't waver or flinch on our positions because it is fellow Jewish people who are the fascists running children over alive with tanks. Anti-Zionist commitments are ethical, not identitarian. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. I got news for you on this front. Go over to Palestine. Sign up for Hamas. Let them know you're Jewish, but it doesn't matter because it's not an identitarian struggle. You are committed to the cause. See what happens. Just go ahead. Try. See how not identitarian they are over there. Okay? Don't to be clear, don't actually do that. You will be raped and murdered. Because guess what, gang? It is identitarian. It is. You can again be pro-Palestine. Recognize that there are horrific things that Israel, the government especially, is engaged in. You can recognize that people are being bigoted towards the Palestinian people in many ways. But if you're cheering on Hamas, you're lost. You've gone too far. You're done. This kind of noble savage kind of the land is fighting with them, gang. They are the salt of they are the sacred below, fighting against the evil above. It's insane. Jewish people may differ on the Netanyahu government policies, who should lead the Zionist entity, West Bank settlements, and the like, but once you assert support for Hamas Al-Qassam brigades on October 7th, advocate for removing Jews from Palestine, ethnic cleansing, by the way, gang, that's what that is, ethnic cleansing, and promote the dissolution of Israel in its entirety, also ethnic cleansing, if not just another Holocaust, depending on how you do it. You are considered by Jews to be a traitor to the Jewish community. Jews with moral clarity lack the courage, the spine, the organization, the faith, the embodied principles, and the will to force Zionism out of Judaism. To Jews who also hate Israel and what it has wrought, be proud when they call you a traitor to their death project. Let us be traitors unflinchingly. I'm going to take this brave stance, gang, saying you should not be calling for the ethnic cleansing or the extermination of any group in that region, be it Jewish, Palestinian, any of them. Like, oh, they may criticize Netanyahu. They may think that the policies they're doing are bad. They may not like the West Bank settlements and all that. But as soon as you say you support the group who broke in and murdered 1,100 civilians, raping a bunch of women and children, and slaughtering whole groups, they call you a traitor. Crazy that happens. It's wild. How could they? Jesus Christ. Whew. All of Israel is an illegitimate settlement, and all Israelis are settlers and soldiers on stolen land, not civilians. This is anti-Semitic. Gang, this is anti-Semitic. If you think that just because a Jew lives on Israel, that they are a soldier. It's an anti-Semitic kind of thinking. The whole thing is just chock full of insane anti-Semitism. Jewish Zionists, both liberal and conservative, cling to notions of Jewish settler futurity and a free Palestine, arrogantly writing themselves into Palestinians' decolonized future, believing that Jewish settlers should get to remain on the land and keep at least some portion of their stolen spoils. Jewish anti-Zionists should not tolerate a whiff of this entitlement amongst our own people. Palestinians should not be expected to live a song alongside their genocide heirs. And I want to be clear what this is calling for, right? If you think that you should, like, if you're for, like, even a one-state solution, okay, which a lot of people are, especially a lot of anti-Zionists. I think, I'm not sure, I don't want to speak for Soypill, but I think he's a one-state solution guy. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. Like, baked into that is the idea that the people, like the civilians, the Jews, right, who happen to live there, they're going to just get to live alongside the Palestinians, right? And they'll have a co-government. It won't be an ethno-state anymore, right? They'll have equal protection under the law. They'll have equal rights, all these good things, okay? What this person is saying here is that no. We're going to fucking drive the Jews out. All of them. Every single one. Not one gets to stay, gang. Not one gets to stay. That's what this person's writing. It's a call for ethnic cleansing. At the least. At the least. 2.5 years in, American-made bombs are still crashing from the sky as proudly Jewish pilots pound out life in Gaza, Lebanon, and Iran, as proudly Jewish congregates around the world hoist and fly the Israeli flag, organize to get anti-Zionists fired, suspended, deported, and criminalized, facilitate settlements and trips to the entity, distribute resources to the Zionist military, and pray for God's protection. Why did, of all the things to censor, why did they censor God? I don't know. Over our precious Jewish colony that has created the largest generation of child amputees in modern history, that has displaced more than 1 million people in Lebanon as a violent ethnic cleansing campaign for Greater Israel ruthlessly expands. Synagogues are no longer holy. There is no God where Zionism dwells. Let's at least be honest about what we are as a Jewish people, or what we as a Jewish people have become. Again, we would never accept this about any other group, just lumping them all in together. I know plenty of Jewish anti-Zionists, and I'm not talking the anti-Zionists who are whatever this crazy lady is saying is an anti-Zionism, right? Where you have to love Hamas and want to exterminate all the Jews from Israel. No, I'm talking about like a reasonable anti-Zionist who doesn't like Israel, doesn't like that it's an ethno-state, wants to make changes there. You're going to be arguing for a one-state solution, a two-state solution, a three-state solution. There's all sorts of different ways. No, they just lump it all together. They lump them all in. If you're a Jew, guess what? You're evil. You're demonic. Jews in Euro-America send their kids to synagogues, summer camps, and Jewish schools, all Zionists, ultimately teaching them bald-faced lies about Israel, a land without a people, for a people without a land. We made the desert bloom, celebrating Israel's birthday, the Nakba, and preparing our Jewish children to one day become Zionist settlers and soldiers themselves, or to defend the Jewish state from wherever they are, as part of their Jewish identity and duty. It is the fault of their Jewish parents, teachers, and adults in the community who put Jewish children into these Zionist Jewish institutional pipelines that brainwash and shape young Jews into becoming propagandized anti-Arab, Islamophobic, nationalist, entitled zealots. This is so crazy. It's the Jews are brainwashing the children. That's what this is saying, that they're brainwashing the kids, okay? That the Zionist entity, the Zog, right, is brainwashing the children to all be mindless, propagandized, anti-Arab, Islamophobic, blah, blah, blah. It's a long one, gang, but I want you to get the full picture here. They will be, as you are now, woefully out of touch with the moral pulse of humanity, which increasingly understands how profoundly evil Zionism and Israel are. Jews will be the last to see, the last to understand, and it's already way too late. Just more reason for those who still need it, as to why people should not look to us Jews for analysis on Palestine. We do not say anything original anyway. It's all diluted, disembodied, and defanged through the looking glass of the Jewish propagandists who shaped us. Treat yourself to perspectives that are not constrained and pressed through the esophagus of power. Clearly, Jewish people only assert our Jewish collectivity when we view ourselves as heroes or victims or with a comfortable distance of history, not when we need to take responsibility and reckon with our role as fascists in the present cataclysmic moment. Again, all Jews, they're saying that all Jews, everyone, is a fascist. That's what they're saying. That's what they're preaching here. That's what the whole screed is. Yes, all Jews. Okay. Through Zionism, we bear witness to what happens when those romanticized and utopic concepts of Jewish collectivity are abusively warped towards an exceptionalism and Jewish supremacist tribalism for Euro-American imperial aims. I also reject the framing of Israel makes Jews unsafe, increases anti-Semitism because 1, we're the oppressors in the context of Israel, not the victims. 2, this framing abdicates Jewish responsibility because Israel is not an amorphous, self-animating thing that merely hovers over us. It is a colony that we as Jews actively build and sustain daily through concerted generational effort. 3, that's not anti-Semitism. It's a reaction to Jewish-led genocide, which all our institutions support. And 4, you're conceding to the propaganda that there is a rise in anti-Semitism when Jews currently do not face systemic oppression for being Jewish. And the anti-Semitic incidents data is tracked such that every anti-Zionist protest sign is clocked as separate anti-Semitic incident by the ADL. So 5, enough with the Jewish victimhood, Jewish safety, and anti-Semitism talk. It's just a distraction from Jewish perpetrated genocide of Palestinians, Arabs, and Muslims. Gang, this is just not true. None of this is true. There are huge issues, even in America, with violence, hate towards Jews. I'm curious, and I'm not sure. And again, this isn't a left or right thing, but I just would be very curious what the author here thinks of Fuentes and their screeds against Jews. Is that not anti-Semitism? Is that not an issue that they would be concerned about? Probably not, gang, just from reading this. But I don't know. Many will say the argument I put forth unfairly puts a target on Jewish people's backs. You're still missing the point. We support genocidal Zionism across the entirety of our faith. We put the target on ourselves and can take it off ourselves by relinquishing genocidal Zionism and asserting principled anti-Zionism. And again, remember, the only way to do that, according to the author, is to support Hamas. Freudian slip. The only way to do that is to support Hamas. If you don't support Hamas and the miracle of the Al-Aqsa flood, if you think October 7th was a bad thing, target's on your back, baby. The only way you can remove it, full-throated support of Hamas, cheering on October 7th. Crazy shit. Crazy shit. But more fundamentally, we aren't the victims targeted by Zionism. We are the perpetrators of it. The real targets are those materially placed on Palestinians by Israelis carrying out double-tap strikes and Where's Daddy bombings for maximal carnage of Palestinian families by Jewish soldiers. If Jews cared about justice and embodied the spirit of our own ancestors who fought fascism, we would see Jews tearing down and burning their congregations' Israeli flags, ejecting racist genocidal rabbis from the bima and synagogues, demanding that temples cut all ties to the death colony, instigating revolution within the faith to cut out the Zionist cancer. We would have been selfless and given our lives to Palestinians in the resistance in the entity. We would have engaged in treason against modern Judaism and committed open sedition against any long-forsaken notion of a collective people that ceased to exist over past 100 years, let alone the blessed Al-Aqsa flood on October 7th, 2023. If Jews had a speck of morality, we would be seeing a raging split and battle inside Judaism. None of this righteousness exists, and the genocide rages on. Enough of our platforming and sponsored posts, our self-righteous interviews on being doxxed or fired for Palestinians or Palestine, while Palestinians, Arabs, Muslims suffer a much worse fate for speaking truth. Enough of our vapid liberal influencer class, our careerism, our wasteful, pointless electoralism. Oh God, you know what? Can I just say I'm so glad that they think that people who think like this think electoralism is pointless. It's a small blessing, but it's a blessing nonetheless. These people will and forever remain politically irrelevant. Thank God. Okay. And our self-congratulated book deals that come out at the expense of Palestinians, Arabs, and Muslims, flesh, skin, and organs being harvested and vaporized with no identification or trail underneath concrete rubble. We as Jews are not special, and frankly, Jewish support is often damaging in its liberal, orientalist defanging of the Palestinian struggle, regardless of one's intentions. Goddamn Israel, a Jewish settler colony that slaughters. And why is God not censored here? Whatever. Goddamn Israel, a Jewish settler colony that slaughters in the hundreds of thousands under the explicit banner of protecting universal Jewish safety. Goddamn this sick, pedophile, and raping state to which we as Jews all have colonial birthright under the law of return. A state that all our Jewish institutions uniformly support. Deflecting or underplaying this stark reality amongst our own people, daring to slander others as anti-Semitic who call it out, is a dishonest, cowardly abdication of our responsibility. Any semblance of Jewish morality is long since dead. We killed it in Gaza. We're almost done. Okay. As journalist Laith Marouf often remarks, the loudest Jewish voice today is genocide. He rightly advocates for Jews to battle against Zionism within our own communities and to sacrifice beyond polemics in a material way like Palestinians, Arabs, and Muslims have. Since the inception of Zionism, they have lost generations and entire family lineages as they throw sand in the gears of Zionism's unending death machine. Laith Marouf notes how there is no meaningful resistance from anti-Zionist Jews fighting Jewish Zionism like there was, for instance, among anti-fascist Germans fighting Nazism. He asks for our consideration, where is the Jewish John Brown? Where is the Jewish Oskar Schindler? And remarks upon how, in the over a century of the Zionist project, not one Jewish person has died for the cause of Palestinian liberation. So why should Laith or any other Palestinian be expected to not conflate Judaism and Zionism, when we as Jews don't care enough to fight and sacrifice for their separation ourselves? They shouldn't. Palestinians owe us nothing. We owe Palestine an infinite, unpayable debt that continues to rack up every single moment of every single day. 100 years of Zionism, blah, 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 whatever. Okay. We operate this Euro-American imperial military outpost, redrape it in Judaism to whitewash and protect it from scrutiny. We keep it humming for our own selfish settler gain. Amongst the more Jewish populace, there would be Jews protesting and confronting their Jewish spaces at every service, holiday, and gathering. There would be Jews in occupied Palestine using their military skills to support the resistance. Tribunals against Jews who participated in this generational genocide, large-scale efforts to denazify and de-Zionize our people so we won't commit further harm. None of this energy currently exists within Judaism. Not even one synagogue went from Zionist to anti-Zionist over the last 2.5 blood-soaked years. The opposite happened. In fact, many Jews doubled and tripled down on Zionist Judaism in support for Israel after the stunning anti-colonial Al-Aqsa flood operation. This is what we're fighting against, gang. This all-or-nothing mentality, right? This all-or-nothing mentality that every single Jew is responsible for what Israel does. That every single Jew, if you want to take the target off your back, and that's how they put it, not me. If you want to take the target off your back, you have to full-throatedly support Hamas, support the Al-Aqsa flood in October 7th, support the rape and murder of Jews in Israel. That you need to go over there and to physically fight. Or else, you know what? Target's on your back, baby. You are not a civilian. This is what we're fighting against. And this is what, again, this anti-Zionism isn't anti-Semitism, LOL troll, acts as a shield for. It's correct, though. Anti-Zionism isn't anti-Semitism. You can be anti-Zionist, not in the crazy way that this person says, and not be anti-Semitic at all. But as, again, I'll refer to this this wonderful example. As our friend FTM Mongoose says, you know, if you're describing what we're reading as a Jewish anti-Zionist talking about how it's the responsibility of Jewish anti-Zionists to spearhead the separation of Judaism and Zionism. If that's how you're framing this, you are complicit, okay? You are running cover, running defense. Now, if you hadn't read the article, I would forgive you. But if you're going to come at me with, did you even read the article, LOL? I'm going to assume you read the article. I'm going to assume you read it. And if you read that, if you actually did read that, and you frame it as, you know, it's just anti-Zionist talking about like anti-Zionism. Just anti-Zionism. You're an anti-Semite. Fuck you. You're an anti-Semite. Fuck you. Like, fuck off. That's what you are. Sorry, not sorry. Calling it like I see it. Okay, how many of you, Venom Platypus, Polygraph Lie Detector, do you support the miracle of October 7th? Do you support the rape and murder of Jewish people in Israel? Do you support that? If you do, just say so. It's a free speech zone. You can say it. Be honest. Okay? Is that what you support? Because that is specifically what this article supports. That is specifically what this article is arguing for. That is specifically what this article says that you have to do if you want to be an anti-Zionist. Because otherwise, welcome, brother, you're a Zionist like me. Why, hold on, why do you guys feel the need to defend this? At all? Why do you feel the need to defend this? I don't understand. What the fuck are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? I'm not condemning someone who is critical of Israel here. That's not what's going on. That's not what's happening. And to frame it as such is dishonest. And again, makes me wonder how much you actually disagree with the author here. This author specifically, well, let's just keep reading. Like, the stunning anti-colonial Al-Aqsa flood operation. They're referring to October 7th when a bunch of Hamas and other Palestinians came over across the border, killed, 1,000, 800, 1,100, 1,300, I'm not sure the exact number, but hundreds of Jews, raped them, killed them, destroyed them, broke them, bragged about it, videotaped it, carried the corpse of a 1-year-old child that they had raped in celebration, okay? Paraded it through the streets. Do you think that's a stunning anti-colonial operation? Was that a miracle, gang? Was that a miracle? Do you describe that as miraculous? So shame on you. You're an anti-Semite. Fuck off. I still know of 0 genuinely anti-Zionist rabbis or synagogues, at least in Euro-America, that back the Palestinian armed resistance and advocate for the full dissolution of U.S. and Israel and decolonization of the land. This is an unbelievable indictment of us. Again, if you're not calling for the full dissolution of the U.S., of America, with a K apparently, as well as Israel, you're a Zionist, according to this person. Not even a live-stream genocide of infants burned alive every single day by Jewish bombs and bullets has been enough to budge Jewish institutions and leaders an inch away from Zionism in any serious or material way. With modern Judaism remains godless, just look at flattened Gaza, Islam reveals itself as a deep well of the below, from which Palestine and its allies in the region and across the Ummah draw on for spiritual strength to resist Zionist colonization and Euro-American empire. A reckoning is coming for those responsible, including many Jews, not because of our Jewishness, but because of our unwavering lockstep investment in Israel and Nazi Zionism that is a community we still refuse to loosen our grip on. What is there to say? It's a holocaust of our making. When consequences inevitably return to Jewish institutions and individuals because we proliferated this violence and refuse to release our commitment to supporting genocide, it is not anti-Semitism. It is chickens coming to roost. It is chickens coming roost? I think they forgot a word there. I'll need a better editor. People will rightfully be hunting down the people and formations who facilitate these crimes for the rest of their lives as not, and again, according to the author, that's everyone who's one, a Jew, and two, doesn't support Hamas. And three, doesn't support the destruction of America either. Okay. There's you're going to be hunted down, apparently, because you're a Zionist. Nazis are still sought out after into old age, no matter how seemingly small their role in facilitating the slaughter. And this genocide is not only generational, but ongoing. It is settler colonial in nature and therefore not comparable to the Nazi Holocaust. Okay. The answer is for every Jewish person, synagogue, and organization to drop the colony immediately, fully, and publicly, hold our people accountable, and move resources towards Palestinian liberation on Palestine's own terms. Yes, all Jews. And if we don't fulfill our responsibilities and do it ourselves, others will inevitably take it into their own hands because this affront to humanity simply will not stand. You cannot unroll the bulldozer across her body. You cannot unwhip the cable lashes from across his back. You cannot bring back to life the precious martyrs in Palestine. That ship has already sailed. Judaism's crimes will ring out for eternity. The slaughter continues every day, despite you looking away, despite you rationalizing why it's not our fault. It is our fault, and the bloodshed won't stop until it is forced to. Long live Hamas Al-Qassam brigades, men of honor and steel, who rise from the subterranean below with homemade weapons and unshakable faith to strike fear and fatal blows in the hearts of the Zionist enemy, where Jews snuffed out life. Al-Qassam breathed oxygen back into the body. This is the most shameful generation of Jews to ever exist. Not one of us can say we didn't know. We are spiritually hollow, morally eviscerated. Don't just selfishly say Israel doesn't represent all Jews. Fight for that distinction to be material true by eradicating Zionism within Judaism. That is the only choice. When it comes to the evils of Zionism, Jews would rather lie to ourselves and self-deceive than take a modicum of responsibility beyond feeble self-interest and sloganeering. How long will Palestine and the region have to pay for our delusional denial, our unceasing rapturous violence, our refusal to take accountability for the ways we have destroyed so much life on this precious, precarious planet? Jews must destroy the Israeli state and the Zionist ideology in its entirety, its every node and tentacle, including Israel's host colony, America. I care more about Palestine than Judaism. If Judaism has to die for Palestine to live, kill it. And that, my friends, is anti-Semitism. Let me read some of your super chats. Thank you for those. $2 from Zephyrhash says, did 2-liter Coca-Cola bottle drinker Katie write this? No, this was someone else. Straight Shot for $5. Can you name any of Israel's neighbors that don't want them dead? What is the closest country that doesn't want them dead in your mind? Look, I think the here's the hell of it. Israel was normalizing relations with several of its neighbors. Saudi Arabia, there's a few others. One of the reasons that Hamas struck when it did is because of this normalization process. Because Israel was making nice with its neighbors. They were playing nice, and they were all going to kind of get along. But Hamas wanted to stop that, and so they struck. Okay. I can't name all the fucking countries in the region. Okay. I'm sure there might be one, but that wouldn't matter. There are enough people within that area that want them all dead that it would be unwise to disarm Israel. Unless you want to see another Holocaust, which apparently this person would be fine with. They actively called for an ethnic cleansing, right? In the article, they actively called for ethnic cleansing. Just insane. Yeah, and short Stack Goblin says. The governments of those countries don't want them dead. The population, however, is different. That's true. And in some cases, it's the government, right? What was the Houthi flag? What does it say, gang? Death to Jews? Pretty crazy. Fresh Paycheck says, Wick, can you ban polygraph? They're just spamming brain-dead arguments against an imagined opponent. LOL. Polygraph, I'll say this. This isn't the first time people have asked me to get rid of you. I had a comment earlier on my channel, and they said that you were making this unwatchable. So I'm going to ask you to, you can criticize me all you want, but keep it to like a message every couple minutes, okay? Don't spam. Stop spamming. If you continue to spam, I will get rid of you. Like, just take all your criticisms and put it into a paragraph. Then you can hit send. That's fine. But yeah, if you're making things unwatchable for my audience, if they can't participate in chat because you're just sucking all the oxygen out because you won't stop, that's a problem. We're going to have to deal with it. You can say whatever you like. You can call me whatever you like. Just do it in paragraph formation and not spam it all the time. That's it. Yeah, Polygraph's welcome to come and chat on my stream. It is a call-in show. Why is my pinned message at the bottom? Is there a way to put it on the top? Okay. Let's do a few call-ins. Oh, is it just on the bottom for me? I don't know why. Okay, that's weird. Why would it be different for me than you guys? I'm not sure. Whatever. Hello, you're live. You're muted on your end. Hello. Hello. Oh man, they're having first call-in of the day and they're having mic problems. Well, tell you what, man. Hope you fix it. See you soon. But yeah, so this is why I don't want certain people in my party, gang. I don't want people who would defend that filth that we just read. I don't want people who believe that filth who we just read in my party. I don't want you here. Right? I have no respect for you. I want you to go away. You don't get to make decisions on how we act as a party, on what we advocate for as a party. If you are sitting there advocating for Hamas, then you can get the fuck out. I don't know what else to tell you. Yes, Testicle Johnson, that person said they were anti-electoral, but they're not all exactly like her. And there's a lot of people who run cover for that, which I also don't want, right? Who are running defense for that, which I also don't want, right? Who are electoral, or at least electoral in the sense that they want influence within the party, right? I suspect a lot of them actually want us to lose. Like Emma Vigland, Sam Cedar, Hassan, Sean DeBlack, a bunch of these creators, I believe, want Democrats to lose because they would rather Democrats lose than ever kind of go against their audience and what the audience wants, right? And never compromise, right? They are financially incentivized. Their donors, right? The money they're getting from their audience relies on them, right? Or they rely on it for funding and things like that. And if they were to be electorally viable and to advocate for electorally viable things, they would lose that money. It enriches their pockets when Republicans win. They make more money when Republicans win. Exactly, Vitae Mecca. If the Dems win, who will they scream about? Oh, they'll scream about the Dems no matter what, right? The Dems aren't doing enough. The Dems aren't fighting hard enough. The Dems aren't winning enough. And meanwhile, they don't win electorally anywhere. I think they won a governorship and in New York City and maybe a couple House races here and there. But that's it. Again, if they ever want to compromise, like be electorally viable, they will lose their donations. They will lose their funding. People will stop watching them. They want Democrats to lose. If they can't control it, right? If they can't have total control of the Democratic Party and get every single thing they want, they would rather the Democrats lose to punish them. Yes, debate board, they are your friends. I can't prove it. But I suspect that Elon Musk is boosting Hassan, boosting pro-Hassan accounts, boosting Mehdi Hassan, right? I can't prove it, but I got a suspicion. Just based on the metrics that I've seen. It is in Elon Musk's best interest to promote anti-democratic messaging. Anti-democrat messaging, I should say. So you see tons of MAGA stuff. You see tons of why I let the left stuff, all that slop. But the other thing you see, and man, this popped off over the weekend, right? That's why we did a show yesterday on it. Just pro-Hassan propaganda everywhere. Everywhere. It was, you couldn't get away from it. He went on fucking CNN. CNN talked about it yesterday too, right? They are promoting the shit out of Hassan, right? They're promoting the shit out of that side of things because it helps them. Ask yourself, why are they doing this? Why are they promoting these people? Because it helps Republicans. It helps Trump. Anti-Democrat messaging, regardless of who it's from, helps Republicans. Elon Musk, straight shot, and the people at X who control the algorithm. Anyway, let's try this caller again. Hopefully they got their mics set up better. And gang, it is a call-in show. If you think I'm stupid or whatever, if you disagree with what I'm saying, you can just call in. Hello.
Hello.
Oh, I can hear you now. Thank goodness. What brings you to my show, sir?
Okay, so first of all, question 0. Why the fuck can I change my per server profile on your Discord?
You mean your name?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we had people trying to imitate other people, and it was a problem.
Oh,
And so
okay.
we did this.
I mean, that could be
where
funny. Okay, I
yeah.
understand. Okay, I'm short stuck goblin in chat.
Ah, gotcha. Okay, yeah, but that's why basically is because people were pretending to be other people like admins and mods and stuff, and it got bad. So
Okay. I sense. At what time? I sense, Lord, that I should look up. What's okay? What's the worst incident of this? It should be
I
funny for
can't
me.
remember, man. This was years ago. This Discord's been around longer than I've been streaming. So
Okay. I know that like Dewey does the same to politics. So I know that some people have this problem. Okay. I was actually more interested in the SCOTUS thing, but
okay, sure, yeah,
let's
let's
talk
talk
about
about it.
let's talk about this woman first. Okay, so I have two different points that I want to make about this woman that wrote this article. The first one is that she's a loser, and you shouldn't even bother to engage with her. And the second one, I'm not even sure that she's real. So let's go to the first one.
Okay,
Assuming that
so
she's
you
real,
say that I shouldn't engage with this. Like, what do you mean by that? Do you think it was a mistake to
uh,
read the article?
I think like from the so I don't know how much the article got traction outside of your shit.
I mean, it did really well for Substack, right? We checked the metrics for Substack. Getting 1,500 likes is a lot. Um,
Okay.
it's the equivalent of going viral. And I've also saw on Twitter a lot of people citing it, a lot of people talking about it, both positive and negatively. And that's why I commented on initially too. And the other reason I decided to cover it today is because I saw people who I knew, again, people who had been on my show, right? Who I knew were leftist, who I knew were kind of like it's not anti-Semitism, it's anti-Zionism crowd. I saw them defending it, and they defended it and
Okay.
accused me, right? Like we read the
I mean,
message, right?
we all know that when so my so from my perspective and from your perspective, you and I are Zionists. We believe that Israel should exist, so we are Zionists. But they will never call it Zionist because Zionist is just Jew. It's Jew that believes that Israel should exist. That they've changed the meaning of the word for that.
Well,
But okay,
according to this lady, if you aren't calling for the entire ethnic cleansing of Israel, if you
yeah,
aren't
you're a Zionist.
calling for the glorious Al-Aqsa flood and the destruction of not only Israel but the U.S., you're a Zionist, according to her.
Okay,
This is her words.
so okay, now this woman is not a journalist. She is listed as a freelancer.
Okay.
She's written an article for a few uh, places, but she's listed as a freelancer. She can't get a hold of a job ever, and she has dual how do you call it? Dual degree in political science and no, not journalism. Sorry, drama. She actually has a degree in drama.
Yeah, well, that makes sense reading the article.
So that's the first point is she's a loser that cannot get a job in a real newspaper, and she has Substack because Substack doesn't have any fucking criteria. Um, she's also not in your country anymore. I can talk to my Dutch friends, see if they can kick her out of the EU because
Oh, I'm
she's in the
not calling for
Netherlands
her to
right
be.
now.
I just want to make clear, I'm not calling for her to be kicked out of anywhere. I am just using
Well,
her.
the
Well, just if
Netherlands
I may
does
finish.
have,
If I may
yeah, the
finish.
Netherlands do have anti-hate speech laws.
Fair
So
enough, right? But I'm not. I'm not calling for that. Um,
I just
what
want
I
all the
am
shit
doing,
people out of my continent.
sure. What
Okay.
I am doing is I am showcasing to my audience how this certain way of thinking is being defended by otherwise and sometimes well-meaning people that want to give a voice to anti-Israeli sentiment. But what is actually happening is a deep anti-Semitism is seeping in to everywhere. And it's not, again, this is not a left problem, it's not a right problem, it's a problem, but everywhere. And it's getting more and more extreme, and it's going to destroy us if we continue to let it. So that's why I wanted to cover it, to kind of expose it, to drag it into the light, to showcase, like, when someone tells you that this is just anti-Zionism, it's not, and this is why.
I mean, it's not. It's on the title, right? I agree with you in that. Okay. I want to give you my second argument. Um, is there any chance that you can pull up the article on Discord?
Uh,
because I now I'm gonna say, after telling you that this person is a loser, I don't think this person is real.
Here, let me see
More
if I can
specifically,
get it.
I think this person is being controlled by Russia.
Oh, almost certainly.
No. I mean, I don't mean they're being paid. I don't mean they are. I mean this text was written by a Slavic person, uh, and since I don't see a good reason for the Polish or the Ukrainians or the Serbs to write this text, I don't think. I think Russia is the most likely
Okay,
candidate.
well, the article's up on the stream. Where are we going?
Okay, can you go into the sacred below and the crushing by the whatever above? Just type sacred. Yeah. Okay. So there's a in literary Slavic tradition, when
Mhm.
you are talking about like abstract important concepts like the below, the above, the truth, the whatever, you capitalize them. This is a thing that you do in like from Tolstoy to whatever. It's just a thing that you do.
Yeah, but
You
yeah, like
tend to
I
do this.
recognize the style, but if you were trying to capture kind of a certain gravitas, that would
Yeah,
you would probably write in that style as well. I don't know if this
you
is evidence that they're
you
Slavic.
could no, it's weak evidence. So there's like three weak evidence things.
Okay,
So
okay, so that's
so
one.
um they do this with below, with above, and with Jewishness. She does this later on in the article. While I was
Right here?
the other, yeah, the other thing that she like that um the passive how do you call it, the passive
Passive
sentence
voice?
structure, whatever, passive voice. It's quite common in Slavic languages, not so common in English. And so the active voice would be the above is crushing the sacred below or whatever, and the sacred below is being crushed by the. It's a more the sentence structure is just seems a direct translation from a
Okay.
Slavic language to me.
I can't
Uh,
speak to that. Maybe.
yeah, no, it's permitted in English. It's permitted.
Sure.
It's just it feels like a translation.
Okay.
You recognize that this is a clunky sentence, right?
Yeah, I understand that these are kind of weak bits of evidence that you're pointing to, and it gives you the impression that this is probably what
Yeah,
happened. I
and
don't
then
know if
the
I'd need more. I'd need strong
yeah, I
evidence. Is what
understand.
I'm saying.
I'm not gonna get you to think
Sure,
that
sure,
this
sure.
is for sure. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm just uh, from me knowing a little bit of Russian. I don't speak Russian like how do you say
Fluently.
fluently. Um, from me knowing a little bit of Russian, I'm like,
Okay.
the third one is just she insists on spelling American with a K, and so
I don't know if that's a Russian thing. I think that's a thing like the America KKK, right? Like I think it's an
it
allusion to
might
that. That's what
be.
I got.
Uh, but so because Russia has so in Russian the C always means the S sound always.
Okay.
So so American in Russian would always be written with a K. This is not true only for Russian. It's only true is also true for Dutch, and she lives in the Netherlands. She's American though, so I don't know why the fuck she would spell it as a Dutch person. Um, so it's like the three little things that I'm like, I'm not sure. I didn't look too much into this article before. Like I just seeing for the first time.
Sure.
So it's like it like tingles my little
Your spider sense is tingling. I got you.
yeah. It's
Maybe. I don't know, man. But yeah, that's
I don't know if we have like Russians or Ukrainians in chat. There's Buster or Arthur or Alex are here. I don't know. It
yeah, I don't
might
know.
be.
Like I said,
It's late for them. It's like 3 in the morning. Never mind.
okay. Yeah, but is that what you got for me, buddy?
On this it is. I want
Yeah.
to talk about SCOTUS though.
Briefly, because I'm not gonna take too long tonight, and I want to talk to Doobie because he's in backstage, and
Okay.
I'm
And Dubious,
sure
what we're
what
gonna
Doobie has to say will be entirely hinged. Okay, it
know.
will be rational.
uh,
It will be
I,
reasonable.
I was I was
Not at
betting against the
all
one the
unhinged.
last
It
time
will
we
be
talked.
entirely hinged. That's my prediction. We'll find out if
Okay,
I'm right.
so I don't know why you always cover your head. I assume that you have some baldness problem. Um,
Baldness
if
problem?
I
Here,
if I
I'll
was your
take my hood off.
if I was your doctor and I said to you uh, that licking frogs would help
I
with
am
your hair
balding, but I'm
problems.
not bald.
Okay, if I was your doctor and I said to you that licking frogs would help with your balding problem, would that be okay?
Say one more time. No, I couldn't hear you. I was adjusting
I'm
my
your
mic.
dog. I'm your doctor. I'm your doctor,
Okay.
and I'm telling you that to prevent your balding, you should lick frogs. Is that okay?
No, that's crazy.
But I'm not your doctor, right? So I can tell you to you, like it's First
Yeah, sure.
Amendment speech. Is I can tell you, and it's bullshit, and that's okay, right?
Sure.
So that there's a difference between the First Amendment is applying differently to medical professionals
Well,
than
what you're
to
not doing, like,
real people.
if I were to, as a medical professional, prescribe a certain medicine, which you just did, which is licking frogs, that
No,
is
I didn't prescribe it to you.
not.
I didn't give you a prescription. I just told you that okay,
Yeah,
this
but
is not a,
if
it's
you're again
alternative
acting
medicine.
as a
Okay,
medical professional, you do have there are limitations on that, and I recognize that. But the problem with the Colorado
okay.
law is that it ran afoul of the First Amendment because it had viewpoint discrimination written within it, right? If you want to
How
regulate,
did it?
if you want to
How did it?
regulate, right, how these things can happen, you can. You can regulate it. That's possible. But you have to write a law that is not including viewpoint discriminatory language. So again, what the SCOTUS did, it didn't actually get rid of the law. What it did is it kicked it back to the lower courts and demanded that the lower courts use strict scrutiny to decide whether or not this violated the First Amendment. It's going to violate the First Amendment. So what's going to happen
How?
is Colorado, because it has viewpoint discriminatory language in it.
How? I just read the law while you were doing the Jewish person thing.
We can if you'd like, we can go through and we can read the whole fucking Supreme Court argument where they lay it out,
I don't
right?
care about this. I care about the law. So I read the law because it's shorter, and I didn't give me that much time. So the law says medical professionals, under that like psychiatrists or psychologists. So people
Here,
that
link me to law and we'll bring
have
up the law and we don't have to read your
uh,
version.
fuck. Give me a second.
Just DM it to me. Yeah.
Yeah, I will. Fucking god. I don't know, but
Just right click my name.
my last DMs to you were about. Okay, just don't look into that.
I don't know what that is. But fair enough. Here, give me a second. Okay, let me bring it up.
Look, I'm drunk when I talk to streamers, so ignore whatever the fuck I DM'd you before because
You're fine.
it's good that
You're
it's good that you
fine,
don't know.
man. We're not going to talk about it. It's okay. What happens in Wick DMs stays in Wick DMs. It's okay. Say, okay, conversion therapy means any practice or treatment by a licensed physician specializing in the practice of psychiatry that attempts or purports to change an individual's sexual orientation or gender identity, including efforts to change behaviors or gender expressions or to eliminate or reduce sexual or romantic
Can you
attraction or
go?
feelings towards individuals of the same sex.
Can
Conversion
you go
therapy,
up? Can you go up to like the beginning?
yes, it's
Oh, okay,
amending
never
a
mind.
thing,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
it's amazing.
It's definitions, and it's just going through definitions. These are important, so we're going to go through them, okay?
Okay.
B, conversion therapy does not include practices or treatments that provide acceptance, support, and understanding for the facilitation of individuals' coping, social support, and identity exploration and development, including sexual orientation, neutral interventions to prevent or address unlawful conduct or unsafe sexual practices, as long as the counseling does not seek to change sexual orientation or gender identity. Gang, those of you who watch my show regularly might have already found the problem. What do you think viewpoint discrimination is?
I reckon you're the chat.
Okay, viewpoint discrimination is when you say, well, you can, if you have this viewpoint, it's allowed, but this other viewpoint is not allowed. So what the law does here is it forbids any practice that attempts to change an individual's sexual orientation or gender identity, including efforts to change behaviors or gender expressions or to eliminate or reduce sexual or romantic attractions or feelings, but it allows, affirmative kind of care, right? Like sexual orientation, neutral interventions, um, coping, social support, identity exploration and development. And so, at least right off the bat, by
This is not a
allowing one
conversation.
viewpoint but not allowing the other viewpoint, it runs afoul of the First Amendment, and you can't do that.
I
So
mean,
if
no,
they
but
were to
this
rewrite
is
this
within
law,
this is within a therapeutic setting. This law is
yes,
saying within a therapeutic setting, am I allowed to tell you that licking frogs will make you less bald?
are you allowed? I don't know the fucking regulations, man. You might be.
So okay, no,
But again, it's
because this
you are
law. Okay, no,
prescribing
no,
a
no,
medicine in that scenario. Use a different
stop.
hypothetical.
Okay,
You're
so
surprised.
if
You're
the hypothetical
because
is
I'm
if I
ingesting
tell you
something into my
that
body, right? I'm licking a
okay,
frog. So use a different
if
hypothetical.
you hike for whatever, if you pray to Shiva, you will actually less bald.
Yes, you can't tell people to pray in a therapeutic section. Do you know they have
No,
Christian
specifically to Shiva.
therapists? You have Christian therapists that can talk about
Okay, so you just don't believe
praying
that
to the
therapy is medicine.
to God to help.
This is the problem. You don't believe that therapy is a form of medicine. Where
Hold
we
on, hold on. No, do you think that there's any kind of that you could probably find a health benefit in helping bring people towards in affirming their faith?
so okay,
That can
so
happen, right? You can
to
imagine a scenario that would be okay.
some degree, yes. So I have a friend that complains or used to complain a lot because her therapist kept pushing her towards like Reiki and some weird shit. And to some degree, there is therapeutical benefit to if you already believe shit. It's a placebo effect, right? If you believe shit, you're gonna get better because you believe that this will help you, and that could be a thing. However, my point here is that the Colorado law is not a First Amendment issue because it doesn't prevent anyone from saying anything ever outside of a therapeutical setting.
What it
And
prevents is if I as a person, let's say I'm Doobie, okay, and I'm struggling with homosexual tendencies, okay? I don't like those homosexual tendencies. I don't like these feelings I'm having. I want them to change. So I go to someone and I say, "Hey, I'm going to give you some money. I want you to help me with this. I don't want to be gay anymore. I want you to help change me." Do you think the government should stop that from happening? As long as there's no torture going on, as long as you're not like fucking like sleep depriving me, things like that. Should that be
if you,
allowed?
it depends on how you define gay. If you're gonna say, if you're
Yeah,
gonna
they
have a
like to fuck guys. Okay, they're
no,
a guy who likes to fuck
if
guys.
you wanna have a modern definition of gay, which is you're attracted to guys, because no medical intervention can help you with that, you shouldn't do it. If you have a more conservative definition of gay, which is I actually fuck guys, then I can help you with that. I am capable of helping you with that. So then that's fine. But under the modern definition of gay, which is you want to fuck guys, not just you actually do it, this since
What I'm
scientifically
asking
this
you,
seems to,
what I'm asking you, right, and I want to be very clear, is should the government be able to tell me, a private citizen, who wants
not a
help
private citizen.
in
This is
changing
not
my...
about the private citizens. God
Hold
damn
on.
it!
You
This is
understand
about the medical
when you
professional.
prevent a
This
medical
law,
professional from providing this, you prevent the customer, the private citizen, from receiving it.
yeah, we prevent medical professionals from injecting
Do you
bleach
want to
into
give
your
the government,
body.
this government, Stephen Miller, the
I
power
don't give a
to
shit
prevent
about
certain
the
types of
fact that
therapy?
your government is shit.
Stephen
I
Miller,
mean, I'm
again,
not in your
this is a
country.
problem. When you give the government power to say this type of therapy is okay, this type of talk therapy is not okay, because of the viewpoints expressed, you are giving people like Trump the ability to decide what is okay to say in a therapy session, and what is
Yes,
not.
they should have this. They should have disability.
Does a patient have a disability? Probably not.
No,
They
no,
might.
they should have this ability. The
The government
government,
should have this ability.
sh-
I reject that.
the
And the
government
government,
should have
and more
the
importantly, our laws written so that they don't. And for a very good reason.
no, they are not like the
The Cram Fandango,
um
it is in Canada. He's asking, is it
some
okay for therapists to recommend unaliving yourself? In Canada, it is. So,
yeah. I think my country also just passed this.
again, all they have
Um,
to do, if they have to change the law so that it no longer has that viewpoint discrimination in it. And then they can regulate it. And it'd be fine.
their law does not uh, influence how anyone talks to anyone else. Their law is about medical professionals.
But it
So
prevents
within a medical
viewpoints.
setting, by their law, within a medical setting, they are saying
Yeah, but
that
you're just fucking wrong,
pretending
man. You're just wrong. You're
you have the
framing it
law in front of
incorrect.
you.
We have regulations, right, that can be written, but they have to be viewpoint neutral. All they have to do is write the law to be viewpoint neutral, and then it's okay. Then it will pass. That's all you got to do.
What does viewpoint
Neutral means
here?
you can't say it's okay to have gender-affirming care, but you can't have gender, like someone say that that if you want to like conversion therapy, talk therapy, you can't have both. You have to pick banning them both or allowing them both. That's viewpoint neutral. That's what viewpoint neutral means.
Is praying to Shiva in a viewpoint neutral way.
The government shouldn't prevent someone to tell a Hindu person to say, "Hey, if you want to pray to Shiva, you should."
Not a Hindu. I don't care about the Hindu person. I care about
a Hindu doctor who's working with a patient who's like, "Help me, doctor. I'm having struggles. I'm also Hindu. What should I do to increase my faith?" They should be able to say, "You should pray to Shiva," right? As a doctor, because the government shouldn't be getting in and saying, "No, you can't say that," while allowing Christian doctors to say it. While allowing a Christian doctor to come in and have a Christian therapy for their Christian audience to say, hey, Christian audience, you should pray more, and that will help your relationship, or that will help whatever you're going through. The government allows that, and they should. They can't prevent a Hindu doctor from saying, pray to Shiva under the same circumstances, because that would be viewpoint discrimination. You have to allow both. Or ban both.
That the law that
one
you
of the
just
two.
read, do you believe that the law that you just read made religious discrimination on this?
It made viewpoint discrimination. Religious discrimination is a simple one kind of viewpoint discrimination.
Okay, so if it's viewpoint discrimination and the viewpoints are one is correct and the other is not, are doctors not allowed? Is the government not allowed to tell doctors you may only recommend therapies that work?
Because one of the reasons that that's a bad thing, it depends, right? You're not allowed to recommend like different medicines and things like that, or tortures or things like that. But when we talk about certain things, there is no medical consensus, and sometimes, believe it or not, the medical consensus is wrong. So when you forbid any sort of advice that has been deemed wrong, what you risk doing is locking in to something that is incorrect. Like, for example, in the 1700s, they used to believe in bloodletting with leeches and shit like that. Could you imagine a government coming in saying anyone who doesn't recommend leeching or recommends something that hasn't been proven, like leeching, won't be allowed to do that?
Well, in a real government, not yours, that would be okay. Because the government would change its mind once empirical data shows otherwise.
Okay, well, you guys, you can live in your world, I'll live in mine. And guess what?
Yeah.
The U.S. government has the highest rate of innovation. Well, I shouldn't say the U.S. government. The U.S. in general, because of its government, because we allow First Amendment protections and things like research and science and all these things, it has the highest rate of innovation. It has saved billions of lives
Yes.
by the medicines it has been able to develop, by the cures and treatments it's been able to use, all because we say the government has limits on where it can regulate. And one of those limits we have, based on the Constitution we have, is First Amendment protected viewpoints. Viewpoint discrimination is not allowed. If you want to regulate things, you certainly can, but you have to do so in a viewpoint neutral manner. That is fundamental. Okay. Anyway, I do gotta go.
I will allow you to keep.
I gotta go. But I love you, buddy.
Our testimonies.
I'll see you later.
Talk to Duby. I like Duby.
Okay. Have a great day. Okay. Doobie. Okay, I'm gonna be real with you, Doobie. I got like 5 minutes in me, man. It's been a long day.
That's gonna be rough.
Yeah, we can do this. We can do this.
Let me make the
another day.
Go ahead.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, we can do it another day. For
it's just like I said, I didn't expect
totally
to go this long, and here we are. But have your say, and yeah, I can't.
I'll try to summarize it for you, just really quickly, and then we can do like a longer thing on it some other time if you want. Okay. So my perspective. So I read the article. I wasn't aware of it until you had it on your stream. So I read it, and what it seems to me is this is like a very common. It's a case of like intracommunal critique, right? She's critiquing the Jewish community from within the Jewish community as a Jewish woman. Now, when Biden did this, when he said that racism is a white man's problem, when he said that all white people have a responsibility to attack systemic racism, when he said that there's only 3 types of white people, it's like there's like racist people, there are people who are agnostic, and there are people who just like who are like fuck. I don't want to fuck up the quote. I just pulled up real quickly. But Biden said similar shit, saying that racism, white issue, white problem. Obama said the same shit. Buttigieg said the same shit. That racism in the United States, systemic racism, was a white person's issue, and all white people had a responsibility to attack this issue. I think this is very similar, right? So I think she sees Zionism as an ideological like cancer that is co-opted Judaism, and she thinks that Jews have a responsibility to confront it and cut it out of Judaism and cut it out of their community.
But
I don't think there's anything anti-Semitic about that at all.
If that had been all she said, you might have a point. But that is not all she said. She said, and I'm going to quote, "Genuine Jewish anti-Zionists unwaveringly support the total eradication of Israel and the greater Satan America. They praise the Gaza's Mujahideen are at the heart of the struggle currently spearheaded by Hamas's Al-Qassam brigades, who executed the miraculous Al-Aqsa flood on October 7th, 2023. Like, she goes on screeds about how all Jews are to blame, and if you do not support Hamas, not just biblically your words, but if you go like fucking materially, is the word she uses several times, right? That you are a demonic Jew, right? Like that you have a target on your back, that you are a horrific person. That is anti-Semitic. And she's blaming all of Jews, every Jew, for this, right? That is a fundamentally different thing than Biden saying you need to be anti-racist. It's a fundamentally different thing from someone simply saying, I think that Judaism and Zionism are interlinked, and we probably need to separate these things and get rid of it and cut off Israel and divest from Israel, all these things. These are fundamentally different.
Do you think she thinks Jews are evil?
Yes.
Like they're born evil?
Well, she says that
she
they're
was
being
born evil?
brainwashed by the Jews, right?
Okay,
What is this
so-
quote here? Hold on. She talks
You're
about
referring
this.
to the day camps or the summer camps.
It is the
that
fault
they
of their
send-
Jewish parents, teachers, and adults in the community
Yeah.
who put Jewish children into these Zionist Jewish institutional pipelines that brainwash and shape young Jews into becoming propagandized,
true.
anti-Arab, Islamophobic, nationalists, entitled zealots. She is in the title of her fucking subject.
Wait, hold on. Wait, can you
is
just
yes,
address,
I'll
I'll
do
just address this really quickly. So in that specifically, she's talking about summer camps that a lot of Jewish parents send their children to, where they're taught that they need to support Israel and Israel is connected to them as Jews and yada yada. Do you remember Jesus Camp? I think it is. So about summer camps that evangelical Christians were sending their children to, where they were taught to be soldiers of God. It's the same kind of thing, right? So she's attacking that, which exists in the Christian community, which Christians also attacked.
She's not
still
just
attack.
talking about summer camps.
Yeah,
She talks about summer camps specifically in another section. But this section, she's saying Zionist Jewish institutional pipelines, and part of that is synagogues, Jewish communities, weepy grief circles, Jewish
Sure.
grief circles, and all these things, right? She uses this language, this very anti-Semitic language, right? That
What's
Jews
anti-Semitic
deserve
about any
it.
of that?
Huh?
Okay, because to me, anti-Semitism means like it's like an essentialist thing, right? Like you
Yes.
were saying that Jews are like evil by nature and they were irredeemable. Right? That's what Hitler thought, right?
It doesn't have to be by nature.
She's not saying any of that.
It's
Okay, but
if
she's
you
not
are saying that
she's not
every
saying any of
single
that. Right?
Jew,
What she's saying is that
I can do this right now.
Jews, that
Gotta
virtually
find
every
this.
Jewish organization, right, is dedicated to supporting Israel in some way, or Zionism, the cause of Zionism in some way. She considers it similar to like Nazism, right? And in the same way that Germans were collectively responsible for the rise of Nazism and the existence of Nazism, and Americans are collectively responsible for systemic racism in the
Neither
US.
of those things
She
are true.
believes that Jews who do not attack the issue of Zionism,
So just
which
like
she
all
sees as similar to
Palestinians
Nazism,
are systemically responsible for Hamas and what they did, right?
okay, isn't that an argument that's consistently made by by
Yeah, it's
pro-Israel
a
people?
bigoted fucking argument.
Why is that bigoted?
Because Palestinians who have no connection to Hamas other than they happen to live in Gaza, right? They happen to be under the thumb of Hamas, are not responsible in any way, shape, or form for what Hamas is doing, unless they're
What if they
materially
support
supporting
Hamas?
by like being part of it or giving money
No,
to
they don't
it
need to be
or
part of
things
it.
like
Wick.
that.
They can just support.
Right?
They can
But
support
if
Hamas
I
as a
were
government.
to sit here and to argue, yes, all Palestinians, and then I went on a screed listing all the things that Hamas has done to Jews, all the murder, all the rape, all the torture, all the blah, 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 and I said every Palestinian is responsible for this, I would be rightly called a bigot, because that is taking a group and saying every member of this group is responsible for what a small portion is doing.
Okay,
And
but
I
it's not
think
a
that
small
this,
portion.
This is what she's doing with Jews.
This is why
she's saying every Jew is responsible for what Israel is doing.
Okay, what percent of Jews are Zionists, Wick?
I don't know off the top of my head.
It's like 90-something%. It's a
Again,
lot.
her definition of Zionist
So hold on.
is anyone
Wait,
who
really
doesn't
quickly.
support
So-
October 7th.
No,
No,
sure.
that is.
I think she's like a
literally her
militant
definition of
anti-Zionist. I wouldn't go
Zionist.
that far. However, she believes that if you are an anti-Zionist, you should
Hold on.
support eradicating the Jewish state, because the Jewish state, from her perspective, is a Nazi state. It's an ethno-nationalist, ethno-supremacist state that should be dismantled.
That's not
and
all.
I somewhat agree with her, actually.
That's not
So wait,
all
really quick-
she's
just really
saying.
quickly.
She's
Okay,
saying if
I'm not,
you are
I'd like to get
not
to what else she's saying.
supporting the eradication of Israel
God.
by supporting Hamas in the glorious Al-Aqsa Brigade, or whatever the fuck you pronounce it, then yes, you are complicit and there's a target on your back. That is what
Okay.
she is
So
explicitly saying.
I don't think she said target on your back. Let's
She-
say
she
that's
says target
that
on
is
your
what
back.
she said.
I'll
Just
look it up.
really quick. So during slavery, right? During slavery, would it be wrong to say that people who do not support slave revolts that might lead to some innocent people being killed, right? People being raped even or tortured by slaves who are revolting. Do you think it'd be wrong to say that if you don't support those revolts, as a pro slavery abolition person, you're not truly pro the abolition of slavery, because in some way you're saying that these slaves don't get to fight for themselves. They don't
Hold
get to
on.
lash out against their fucking torturers.
You shouldn't support slave revolts that murder children. That should be something
Wait,
as
hold
an
on. If
abolitionist
the
you
goal
should
is
not
to murder
support.
children, sure, Wick. If the goal is to murder children, sure. But typically, the goal of these revolts was to
They
get
fucking
freedom,
killed them
right?
all, man.
Hold on.
To
get
John
freedom,
Brown
and in some of
killed
the
kids.
no, okay,
he killed
okay,
fucking
but again,
kids.
Again, Wick. In some of these cases, I think all of these cases, the goal was to achieve freedom, and along the way, it is true that some innocent people, some children were killed. Absolutely, that's true. But that was not the goal, right? So I think the goal of Hamas on October 7th, from the perspective of these people, was to get hostages, because Israel has detained people, men, women, and children, many of whom were detained with no charges for weeks or months at a time, and are systematically tortured and raped, according to God knows how many organizations I can quote for you. I can quote so many organizations for you, Wick, that show these people were systemically raped, tortured, beaten for fucking weeks or months, most of the time with no fucking charges.
Pick a day next week. Pick a day next week, and we will have this debate. Okay? I'm sorry.
Sure.
I didn't have that much time, and I don't have the battery space. Pick a day next week, and you can pick a moderator if you like, and we will have a debate.
Sure. We can do that. That'll be fun.
Okay, pick a day. Let me know. Any day but the 10th. I have something on the 10th.
Okay. Sounds good.
I'll let you
See
go.
ya.
See you later. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. There you have it. Scroll up and read your comments. What am I supposed to fucking read? No, yeah, I understand. Like, gang, if you want to debate Doobie about this, he's in my Discord server. You can debate Doobie about this, right? He wants to debate me on it. If he wants to debate someone else, we can bring someone else. I'll moderate. I don't care, right? But, yeah, we'll do this next week. I just don't have the fucking energy to deal with Doobie right now, okay? I'm going to be real with you. I am tired. Ugh. I didn't run. I set a date for a future discussion. That's not running. I'm saying I don't have the time or the energy right now to deal with you, which is true. I don't. I'll see you guys tomorrow. 6 p.m. Eastern. Should be Soy Pill versus Zeb on birthright citizenship. I love you guys. I do. I hope you man, I hope you survived that article, and I hope you survived the conversation. I don't know if I did. But yeah, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow, okay? And we'll have a whole thing about it. We will escape it eventually. Tomorrow's birthright citizenship, so it's not anything about Israel Palestine. Friday is Ukraine, so it's not anything about Israel Palestine. It's just a day next week at Doobie's choosing. Any day but the 10th will be Israel Palestine. So I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.